Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatuallahi wa barakatuh. Lately, I've been struggling with something I think we all go through, but not many of us really talk about it. And that something is called depression and anxiety. I think the fear of not knowing how your future looks like, or just not feeling well about yourself. These two things fall under having a bit of a depression or anxiety. And we're not weak for feeling this way, because we're just human. And we're gonna have these moments in our lives where we just have to be patient, and we have to endure what we go through, in our lives. And even as us Muslims, even while we have strong faith, we're not immune to emotional pain or stress or sadness. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ himself went through periods of sadness, and there's even a year in his life that's called the year of sorrow. And in this year, he lost both of his wife, Hadija radiallahu anhu, and his uncle Abu Talib. So even the best of creation went through heartbreak and grief. So it's normal that we go through it. We're not perfect. We're not gonna be happy all the time, but there's gonna be moments in our lives where we feel a bit down, we feel a bit uncertain about the future. And that way you get a bit of depression. um, but obviously the question is now, like, how do we as Muslims deal with this? And first of all, we need to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not just for answers, but also for remembering Allah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest. This isn't just a quote. It's basically you could call it a healing prescription. So dhikr, like remembering Allah, calms the mind, and it eases the heart. And whether it's to saying subhanallah, la ilaha illallah, walhamdulillah, wallahu akbar, or just sitting silently with your hands raised in dua, asking Allah, the King of the world, for something in this world or for something in the hereafter. You know, it can calm your mind, doing this, because this can basically help you with your stress. Because you're asking, your creator to heal you. And that's why it's so important to do dhikr and remembering him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And another thing to remember is that it's okay to ask people, because if you just suffer in silence, you will never get rid of it. And it might even get worse than that. So don't hold, the pain for yourself. Ask a family member or a good friend for advice. If you're overthinking things, and if you aren't sure what to do in your life, who knows, like your friends might be there to help you, and they might have ideas for you, or they might have the answer for you. So definitely, ask the people around you, ask those people who are closest to you, because they can really help you. And sometimes the cure for your problems are also in your daily habits. And sometimes the cure for your problems are in those small daily habits that you do, like making dhikr, as we mentioned, in the remembrance of Allah, do hearts finds rest, or praying on time, your five daily prayers, which are important and which you are going to be asked about on the day of judgment. It's the first thing you're gonna be asked about on the day of judgment. And we should remember that this isn't just it's not just a duty, praying five times a day, but it's a moment to basically pause in life and just pray to the one who created you. Just go offline, you know, pray your rak'at, just talk to your creator. And a few other things are of course reading the Quran, even a verse, or making dua in the night of tahajjud, the last third of the night, or uh, getting sunlight, eating well, sleeping good. These things are also good. These things are also good to do in your daily life. These things are obviously basic. Sunlight, eating well, sleeping good, because this is also a big reason why so many people have depression. They just live bad lives. They sleep late. They don't eat well. They don't get you know enough sunlight. So even the basic stuff, it might be the basic stuff that could be the reason why you're depressed. So I would definitely check into this. How are you feeling? Are you healthy? Do you think you're healthy? Are you exercising daily? So yeah, now you can see that Islam has given us the tools for your soul and body. And if you're struggling, so just know, like, if you're struggling, you're not alone. You are deeply loved by Allah, even when you feel unworthy. We all have that feeling, when we think we're just not worthy of the love from Allah. But know that. And the Prophet ﷺ said, no fatigue, nor disease, nor sorrow, nor sadness, nor hurt, nor distress befalls a Muslim, even the prick of a thorn, except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expiates some of his sins because of it. Look at the blessing of this hadith, all those hardships, and because you go all through all these hardships, all these stress, sickness, sorrow, whatever, sadness, he expiates the sins. You know, it's the mercy from Allah. So remember, your pain is not wasted. Your tears are seen by Him. Just take a breath, slow down, turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if you need help, spiritually or emotionally, reach out, to, as I said, to people around you and stuff. And you know, don't forget to just make dua for yourself, and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Never skip that, never skip a prayer. And there's no shame in struggling. There's only strength in seeking help, because that's where your mental health will eventually get better. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring peace to your hearts and ease your mind. Share this with someone who needs it, someone who is going through a tough time. And yeah, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.